UK Livestream for us. UK Livestream for us. If it's a day game, we'll be live with a pre-game show. Alright, UK Livestream is best. UK Livestream is best. So come and join us on YouTube. Use the chat to send your comments through. UK Livestream for us. UK Livestream for us. With the lineups and A's news, and maybe with a guest or two. UK Livestream is best. UK Livestream is best. The perfect way to take a rest. They should prescribe it on the NHS. UK Livestream. Hello and welcome to the Oakland A's UK Livestream, the first pre-game live stream of 2021 ahead of the A's Cactus League opener against the LA Dodgers. I'm Matt, as you can see up there. First pitch is down there. There we go. There we are. First pitch to about 48 minutes away from first pitch. It's a 8:05 start here in the UK, so 5 past midday in Oakland. I think it's 1:05 local time in Arizona. And boy, are we all excited, because the A's have gone out, particularly in the last couple of weeks. The A's have gone and got some good players in, rebuilt the bullpen, got some good offensive players in, and we are definitely set to have a good crack at retaining the AL West title and hopefully to go a bit further in the playoffs too. That's always the dream of the A's. Never quite works out, does it? But maybe this year will finally be the year. And boy, do we all need it. With COVID, lockdown is still going strong here in the UK. Everything's shut, apart from essential food outlets and things like that. So we definitely need some baseball. And I put in my notes today, it was a bit like what the Rolling Stones almost sang years ago. It's only spring training, but I like it. Because we know it's only spring training, it's only exhibition games, and normally you can kind of take them or leave them, but especially this year, really, really excited to see some baseball, excited to see Bob Melvin's boys out on the field in Arizona, and hopefully we can kick off in style with a win against the World Series champions, the LA Dodgers. So it should be good. Do let me know if anything's not working. Hopefully it is all working. It looks like things are working. It's always a bit tricky, first live stream of the season. It all looks like it's go, so fingers crossed we are rocking and rolling. Oh yes, we've even got some comments. Cook's Highlights likes the song. I'm glad you like the song. Good stuff, yes. It's my favourite man from Norfolk, Matt Smith, the Speed Demon. Thank you very much. This is Carl. Thanks, Carl. Always good to hear from you. Luke Sky, I'm not pronouncing that one. Bullpen needs to stay healthy. Well, that's certainly the case. I guess you could say that about every team, to be honest, can't you? But I'm really glad that we brought in the guys we did recently. Rosenthal brought Petit back, brought Romo in, bring some experienced guys to the top of the bullpen. We've got some good young arms there, but you did kind of feel if we were relying on them completely, it may be a bit too much of an ask for them. But yes, it's good to have a good team in place. And where else to start but having a look at the lineup. So let's see if we can bring this up. We should be able to. Here we go. There we are. So here are the lineups for today's game. For the Dodgers, as you'd expect, a few of the regulars in terms of Mookie Betts, Corey Seager, Austin Barnes, AJ Pollock. He's a regular on the treatment table at least. Not so familiar with a lot of the other names. Mike Kickham is there. Starting pitcher, which is a fantastic name for a pitcher, Mike Kickham. Never heard of him. He'll probably no hit us over 3 innings or something stupid now, but yes, some good guys at the top to get them some at-bats, a couple of at-bats you would expect. But let's not worry about the Dodgers, let's worry about the A's, because we've got a few of the newcomers in the team in terms of Mitch Morland and Elvis Andrus. So the two guys who we know so well from their time with the Rangers are in the team. So there we are. Ramon Laureano will be leading off. There is some talk that Mark Canha might be leading off during the season, but Ramon's having a go today. Elvis Andrus is batting in the 2-hole. Chad Pinder is there at third base. Of course, Matt Chapman coming back from his hip surgery in September last year. Sounds like he's coming along really well and should be fine for opening day, but no need to rush him back for early spring. Mark Canha, Dom's favourite in left field. Mitch Morland is DHing today. Austin Allen is behind the plate after trading away Jonah Heim in the Elvis Andrus deal, along with KD. So Austin Allen will be behind the plate. Buddy Reed, I think we got Reed from the Padres as well, I think, from memory. He's in right field today. Seth Brown is at first base. Tony Kemp at second. And it's going to be Dalton Jeffries on the mound, the right-hander. So, what do you think, guys? It should be a good game, actually. It's a strange one because early in spring, in fact, for the first half of spring training, teams are able to limit the games to 7 innings, potentially even 5 innings if they want to. And Bob Melvin has confirmed that certainly the first 4 games that the A's will be playing in the Cactus League this year will be reduced to 7 innings. So it's a 7-inning game today, just over 43 minutes away before first pitch gets going in that one. Now, it's going to be a strange one, really, with at least some fans there. It's not going to be the usual spring training with all of the fans and being able to have those close interactions with the players. But at least there will be some fans there. I can't remember quite what the capacity was. I don't know if Carl is still on the chat. He'll know, the local man. The local man in the know, Carl, would hopefully know. So let us know, Carl, if you know what the capacity for COVID time is at Hohokam. But it's going to be good to have at least some fans there. I know there's been a lot of work that's been going on. Still seems very much in the air as to how many people will be able to get into the Coliseum. I think California still hasn't really confirmed what they're going to do, although there's some kind of tickets you can buy which allow you to pay for tickets, and then you'll find out when you can actually use them at some point, it seems. I know it's difficult. I know the A's obviously really are desperate to get fans back into the Coliseum, not least because they need that money. Carlos said it's about 1:05 Arizona time. Yep, that's right. So that's 8:05 our time here in the UK. I don't know how many people can actually be in the stadium today, Carl. I don't know if it's about like 1,500 or something like that. That was what was in my head. I don't know if I've got that right. But yes, it will be nice to see some fans in the stadium. I know various beat writers have been tweeting out pictures of the ballpark today, showing how good it looks out there in the sunshine. So can't argue with that. That's great to see. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Camp news, I think not a lot has happened really over the last few days, it has to be said. Paul Blackburn is back in the system, which I've put here. I think what I mean by that is he's not been turfed out, so it did look like he might end up leaving the team, but he hasn't been claimed by anyone, so he's back in the minor leagues, and that's fair enough. He's a useful guy to have around in AAA and to make some spot starts, so that will be okay. AJ Puck, it sounds quite hopeful with him. It's always difficult with a guy like Puck because every year you kind of get the good noises coming out of camp that maybe he's going to be fine this year and it's all going to be great. And then something goes ping again. But hopefully Puck will be fine. I know he still wants to start. I wouldn't be surprised if he does do a bit more relieving this year. But we'll see. And Sean Murphy, we covered it in the recent podcast. If you haven't seen the podcast, do check out that podcast. But yeah, really scary situation where his lung deflated. So he had to have an operation for that. He is now in camp, just building up baseball activities. I don't expect him to be in any games anytime soon, but he should be fine for opening day, and that's the main thing, isn't it? So what do you think about the strange situation of playing with 7 innings today? Let's say, greeting from the US. Bradley Pieper, greetings. Probably close to 20%, says Carl. Tickets sold in pods of 2 or 4. No options for single seats. Oh, dear. Do you think Fires or Manaea will be the opening starter? Fires, blimey. Fires is an interesting one, isn't it? Because starting with 4 games against the Astros, you would suggest he may be the 5th starter and starting the 5th one. But then that's going to be against the Dodgers, so that's not a great matchup. And you generally want to steer him away from that lineup. But if it's not fires, I mean, did Frankie get it last year? I can't remember, but Frankie had a bit of a tricky year last year, didn't he, in terms of coming back from the suspension and never really got into a groove. Minaya would be a good shout. I would definitely be fine with Minaya going. I think Jesus Lozado, possibly, you could argue, could be our race this year, but starting out with Minaya as number one starter on opening night would be fine with me. That game is 7:05 local time, isn't it? So it's 3:05 in the morning here in the UK. But that's on Thursday, so it's early hours of the Friday, which is Good Friday here. So we'll all be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, having a Zoom call. Hannah, Dom and myself. A few beers will be sunk too along the way. And hopefully we start off with a good win. We did last year when we finally got the season underway with Matt Olsen hitting the walk-off home run over our Liam Hendricks flag out there in the bleachers. So hopefully we can have a bit more of that. So yes, Bradley Pooper says, is Puck in this year? He's definitely in the roster. Whether he's going to be in the rotation, I think, is a bit more up for debate. I think it would be great if he could, but maybe that's pushing our luck a bit. One thing you are hearing coming out of most camps is that there is a bit of debate about how pitchers are going to be used this year, because essentially no pitcher pitched a lot of innings last year. So whether your usual starting pitcher candidates will still be able to pitch 180, 200 innings remains to be seen. So there is some talk of some teams maybe going 6-man rotation. Maybe the Dodgers will. We know Trevor Bauer is trying to do some crazy things as to when he will start. We'll see what he gets, but you never know. I think I'd like to see Puck in there, but I think it's going to be difficult to trust him to carry a starter's load at this point in the season. But hopefully I'm wrong. I'm going to see if I can grab some of these comments, so bear with me. I suspect it's not working, but we'll see. Here we go. There we go. No, it's not working, I'm afraid. But so looking at the comments, so Carl says, Montas started the opener last season. I don't know what his health status is. Yes, that's a good point, Carl. So he has he actually was speaking to the press today for our Zoom call, having suffered COVID, tested positive for COVID. Sounds like he wasn't desperately ill, but still ill enough. And I don't know whether he's going to be ready for opening day, but he said he didn't think it would take him too long to get going again. He is now in camp and all fine, so could be another candidate there. Bradley says it's nice to know that we'll have baseball on schedule this season. Yes, it is. So that was the interesting thing about spring, wasn't it? That the owners were wanting to put spring training back by a month. There was a little bit of logic to it in the sense of let's give the vaccination program a bit more time to get going, which always makes sense. But at the same time, you kind of thought, would 3 weeks, 4 weeks really make a huge difference in terms of safety? And I don't think it will really. So we do have the full season. We have a slightly changed spring training. I know certainly the Grapefruit League, they've split into 2 groups, haven't they, to limit the travel because there's a bit more longer distances in Florida between the camps than there is in Arizona. But it looks like we'll all go. April Fool's Day is kind of begging for a disaster, April Fool's Day on opening day. But opening night for the A's, April Fools against the Astros. Hopefully we can come through on that one. And 162 games. We'll see, won't we? We'll see. I mean, they've decided to... Have they stuck with... I've lost track of what rules they are using again this year. I think they're using the 7-inning doubleheaders again and the extra inning base runners, I think. We'll catch up on that as we get nearer to the season. But, straight away we're into a 7-inning game today. And I do think that makes sense. I don't know what you guys think, but... especially for the road team, if you're going to be putting loads of minor leaguers out in the later innings anyway, why not reduce the game down to 7 innings so you don't have to carry so many players to the game? That's more people you have to socially distance and all of that stuff. So it seems to make sense to me for the first half of spring training at least to mix it up a bit. and see what we can do. So Bradley says, I'm curious to see how Dalton Jeffries develops. Has a great arm. Yeah, so Dalton is on the mound today for the A's, and I was going to bring up, if I can, here we go. Let's see if I can bring this up for you. Here we are. Here we go. So this is his page on MLB.com. And of course, he did make his Major League debut last year, but I felt it was really difficult on players coming up and making their debuts last year, because you had someone like Dalton Jeffries who really hadn't pitched a competitive inning for about a year by the time he was actually called up, because of the minor league season ending, and then although they were in their kind of training camp thing, it's not the same as playing competitive games in AAA to get yourself ready for Major League Baseball. So he came in with one start against the Rangers, did not go well, only lasted two-thirds of an inning, gave up 5 earned runs. But you know what? You shouldn't hold it against him. I think that was a real aberration. It was just a one-off start here and there, and hopefully it's something he can put to the back of his mind, because he's clearly got a lot of talent. He's clearly a guy who the A's believe in, and you know, you can never really have too many of those type of guys. I don't think he's probably going to be looked at as developing into a real star, like a Cy Young candidate. We hope that Jesus Luzardo may do that at some point, but he's a guy who could be a solid starter for us, at least back of the rotation. And so, yeah, we'll see. He was, let's see, look at the details. Overall pick 37th. 2016 by the A's, a California guy. So yeah, you've got to root for him to come through and do well for us. And no better way than to face off against Mookie Betts, Corey Seager and the like, in your first game in the Cactus League this year. But I'm looking forward to seeing him. Who else are you guys looking forward to seeing? I think it's going to be great to see Elvis Andrus out there. He's had a couple of down years, which is why he was available from the Rangers, of course. Bit like KD going the other way. But he's a guy who brings a lot of energy. I know various other players in camp have already been talking about what an impact he's had on the team, in terms of Ramon Laureano, who apparently has been talking to him about stealing bases. Whether that's a good idea or not, well, we'll leave that for the regular season. But he's a guy who brings a lot of energy, a lot of positivity. He's a really good guy in the clubhouse. He's got that experience that we needed in losing Marcus Semien. Really strange to see Marcus in the Blue Jays outfit today, I have to say. But yeah, I'm glad to see Elvis. Let's hope he gets off to a good start with us today. And the same goes for Mitch Morland, a guy who's hit really well of us. I think he's hit 15 home runs at the Coliseum, I think it was. That's the most home runs he's hit at any ballpark that hasn't been a home ballpark for him in his Major League career. Good to have him in, a good lefty bat. We needed an extra lefty bat. We've really only got Matt Olson, who's a good lefty bat, you would think, as a regular. Although we've got various lefties in the lineup today. Morland, pretty good hitter. I think he's a switch hitter, yeah, but he can definitely hit from the left side. Really good. And he's still a decent first baseman, it has to be said. Of course, Matt Olson is going to be there pretty much day in, day out as the Gold Glover, but Mitch Morland won a Gold Glove in the past at first base with the Rangers, and it's nice to have that flexibility. It's nice to know, although he's mainly going to be DHing, if you want to give Oli a little rest, but still keep us back in the lineup, you can put Oli at DH, and then Mitch Morland can cover at first base. Seth Brown is at first base today, so he's another option. He's a guy I'd like to see get a bit more of a chance. I was disappointed he didn't get a chance really last year. He came up and did pretty well in 2019 and never really got a look in last year. So again, another guy who I don't think is going to be a star, but could definitely be a decent role player for us, playing a bit of outfield, a bit of first base. So yeah, maybe he's the guy to go for. In fact, I'm going to put that down today. I'm going to say Seth Brown is my tip for the day to get a hit. We'll see how well we do. I know Carl is always on the betting lines. I see you had a nice win overnight there, Carl. So yes, we're going to have various little features like that on our live streams across the season, and also on a podcast where we're Hannah, Dom and myself will be guessing who we think is going to be the player for the series and an upcoming series and all that sort of stuff. So we'll be keeping check on quite how much we know about the A's, or how lucky we get at least in seeing how well those predictions come through. But we're coming up now. Look at this, counting down. 30 minutes until first pitch against the Dodgers. We're going to have a little look around Major League Baseball, if I can bring this up. There we go. Here we are. Right, let's have a look. So we're on the MLB website. Dodgers and Athletics kick 'em. Funny one. Pirates and Orioles. So the Pirates, wow, that's an exciting game, isn't it? Pirates, Orioles. Pirates up there. Apparently in the Phillies game, here we go. I'll try and bring this up. I don't know if this will work. Here we go. The Phillies gave up 6 runs in the first inning. Apparently the Phillies fans in spring training were booing the team in the bottom of the first inning there, having given up 6 runs. Typical Phillies. But yeah, so there's plenty of baseball going on. Blue Jays, I know Marcus Semien has been in this one, so I don't know if he's got a hit. So let's see. About a second, yes, he has got a hit. Just a single by the look of it. But there we go. It's good to have baseball. I love baseball when, especially on a Sunday, they're mainly all early games, day games in the States during the regular season, so you can flick between different games before the A's one starts. So always good. Oh, and have a look at this. Marlins Astros. The Marlins are 6-1 up, hitting 4 runs in the first inning. I think... Oh, that game's been called. Okay. 5-inning game then. Fair enough. Seems a bit weird to me. It looks like it's been called anyway. It looks like it's finished at 5 innings. Don't know if anyone knows that. But we shall see. Okay, we've got a comment here. Big Bad Clark. Yes. Hang on. Will we see an A's UK Tony Kemp banner this year? So the line. So this goes back to when we signed Tony Kemp. And my reaction on the day was, I guess he's better than nothing. So he's become known as better than nothing Tony Kemp. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to do a t-shirt. In fact, that's a good link because we have the A's UK 2021 Spring Summer Collection. We've designed 2 t-shirts for this season. We're still looking into how we might be able to sell them. That's going to be a bit tricky, but hopefully we can sell them. If people are interested, we'll try and find a way to work it out. So we've got a road grey one, which I'm going to leave for Dom. So I should be posting that to you tomorrow, Dom. So we'll wait for Dom to get his so he can show it off on Twitter. But this is the Kelly Green home one. Here we go. It doesn't look very Kelly Green, I will say, on this camera, but it is. But it says, if you can see, there we go. Put it there. Love Stomper. Hate Fisher, Oakland Air UK. There we go. It's a much better colour than that looks. It looks very washed out, but there we go. There we go. Love Stomper, Hate Fisher. So if you are interested in getting one of those, do get in contact and we'll see if we can work out a way to get it done. It may mean see if we can get someone to make them in America because that'll be cheaper if you're in America, but we'll see. Bradley Pieper has also mentioned on the chat, do we know the situation at second base? Is it Pinder full time or platoon with Kemp? Well. So Kemp is in today, and it was certainly looking like some sort of Kemp Pinder platoon, but Jed Lowry is back in camp. He signed a minor league deal, and all of the sounds coming out of A's camp so far have been very impressed with him. He's healthy, looking good in the batting cages. So don't rule out the third return of the Jedi. And we made various comments on this, including some potential songs in our previous podcast episodes. So that's season 2, episode 4. So if you haven't checked out the podcast, do get in contact to find out more about that. You can do that on oaklandairuk.com. We've got all the details on there on all of our social media accounts and also our blog, so have a look at that. But yes, so it could be Jed Lowry back in there. I haven't yet. I will say I haven't yet recorded my Jed Paul McCartney song, but it's coming. I'll definitely get it done. But yes, Jed may be back. Yeah, Return of the Jedi, Brad. He is there. How could you forget about Jed? In terms of other comments, so this is Carl. I want Marcus to smack his new teammate, George Springer. Yes. Wouldn't we all? I don't know about you. among the Astros lot, Carlos Correa is the one who, to me, has always had the most smackable face. Maybe we should run a poll on that, which Astro has the most smackable face. But, he's a good player. Let's be fair to him. Springer, good player. Toronto have made some good moves over this offseason. It will be interesting to see how they cope again without certainly starting the season in Florida, aren't they? They may go to Buffalo at some point, but that's going to be an issue with the minor league team playing there this year. Hopefully they'll be able to play in Toronto at some point, but that's a dicey issue at the moment, isn't it? Do you think, so we've got a comment here, do you think we will see Logan Davidson this season or Soderstrom? Probably unlikely. Yeah, a couple of good prospects by the look of it. I haven't yet got my Baseball America prospect guide. I was about to order it and it said that it was still waiting to come into the UK. So hopefully I'll get that fairly soon from Amazon or somewhere. Logan Davidson is an interesting one. I know he impressed people in camp last year. I think it's looking at that group of guys with Logan Davidson, Nick Allen, who's looks like it's going to be a really good potential Gold Glover at shortstop, probably for next season. I don't think we'll see him much this year, but we've got a few guys there, and that maybe plays into why we were okay with trading Sheldon Noisy to the Dodgers. He's not in the team today, I did check. But Logan Davidson potentially could come up. I think Soderstrom, I've seen some of the footage of him batting in the batting cage. It looks like he's got a really nice swing from the left side. There is talk about how developed he is as a catcher and whether he's really going to stick there. It's the sort of thing where his bat is so good that they may push him off catcher to get him to the big leagues. Although with the A's, you'd think that they'd probably try and give him every shot to stick there. But we've got a good one in Sean Murphy, although he's going to be a bit delayed this year after his scary health incident. But yeah, really looking forward to Soderstrom. He's a guy who has a really good pedigree. I think we were not lucky, but a little bit surprised that he dropped to us in the draft last year. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing him. And there's Ferreira's comments here. Yay, UK A's is back. Yes, we're back, don't you worry. Carl says, watch Jed Lowry be the most impactful A's player this season? Wouldn't it be fun? I mean, it would be a good way to troll the Mets, wouldn't it? He went to the Mets for 2 years, played I think 9 games in total over those 2 years, and then coming back, it's going to be the good old Jed, return of the Jed. He is trusted to Tony Kemp because he actually has integrity. Well, you know what I do as a person. Was it a +1 effect? Is it? I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it seems like a really good guy, Tony Kemp. It's just he is obviously a guy who hasn't hit a lot in the major leagues, and you kind of wonder where he's going to fit in with the group, at least in terms of playing time, but we'll see. After Kana, yes. So we've already talked about Kana. I don't know if you were on. In fact, is it half time, or have you left Liverpool to their own devices, Dom? But yeah, what do you think about Kana potentially leading off? That's what they're talking about this year. Laureano was leading off today, but there's possibility that Kana will be leading off this year, getting on base, maybe getting some more chances to hit, building up that MVP case. You never know. Bradley Pooper has said, my baseball brain is not in regular season shape yet. No, same with all of us, let's be honest. I will say it's been a lovely day here in the UK. Nice and sunny, very mild for the end of February, but going out for a walk this afternoon, you couldn't help but feel, in a normal situation, I'd have spent all afternoon in a beer garden. So that's a disappointment, but probably for the benefit to this live stream that I haven't spent 5 hours drinking. It's probably for the best. 25 minutes in, apparently, Liverpool 0-0. Oh dear. You should be all right with them. Sheffield United, you should be all right with them. Kana can do anything. Kana do. That's maybe a lead to yet another Kana song. We can always do. You can never have enough Kana songs, of course. Leadoff would be excited. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who gets on base, and that's what you want in a leadoff spot. That old traditional view, that mindset of having a speedster at the top of the lineup. Teams really don't act like that anymore. So get your best hitters up the top of the lineup, get some extra at-bats over the course of a month. So that would be a really good idea, I think. It's definitely something I know Bob Melvin has often liked to keep a fairly settled lineup, and I tend to agree with that. I think you can run all the stats, but I do think it's human nature to be happy to have a slot and be comfortable. You know where you're going to be most days in terms of the lineup, but having a bit of flexibility there is always useful, and especially with a guy like Canna who can play in left field, can play in centre field, can play a bit first base, can DH. The fact that you've got that fielding flexibility and you can move him in the lineup a little bit could be really important for keeping the lineup going, because we've been every team is a little bit streaky on offense, where if a few bats are going well, everyone else kind of goes well, and if a few bats slump, which is what we've had a few times in the past, everyone slumps. That ability to move people about in the lineup really can help. It can just moving a couple of people around and reigniting the offense can really be a big boost to everyone. So I think we've got some good options, I would think, and hopefully that's how it all turns out. Bradley says, only bounce back year. Yeah, it was interesting hearing him talking about himself and saying he stunk last year, which I think was perhaps a little bit harsh on himself, but I understand what he was getting at there. Hit, I think, 14 home runs, I think it was. I can't remember now. I know he led with home runs because that's how Hannah and I won the home run prediction competition among the A's last year. But yeah, he was really inconsistent at the plate, and that's something I know he's been working on over the off-season. Similarly with Matt Chapman, in fact, he was talking about how his hip problem was also causing issues with his back and his knees, which meant he just never really felt like he got consistent feeling at the plate. So you could tell Chapman wasn't right last year, and it was a shame to lose him, especially when we made it to the playoffs. He was talking about how he doesn't live that far from Dodger Stadium, so seeing the team there and not being able to be part of it was really tough on him. But I think he's really going to bounce back. I think Matt Chapman he's clearly an ambitious guy, and that probably means he will be moving on in a not too distant future. But that ambition, I think he's someone who always wants to get better. He wants to be an MVP type player. So I think we're going to see a real bounce back from Chappie this year, as well as Oli. And if you've got those two guys on the corners being the guys they can be, then even if Elvis at shortstop and whatever we get at second base, even if that's just, decent rather than anything spectacular, that will be absolutely fine if the two guys on the corners are powering away like we know they can, both on offense and on defense. And if Sean Murphy can do the same, we know he hits big boy home runs, we could be really well set for a good season. Let's have a look. What do you expect from Chappie this year coming off hip surgery? There we go, one step ahead of you, Bradley. I think he'll have a real bounce back. I think it wasn't major surgery. It was something that was clearly holding him back in many ways. So get it sorted, try and gut for it, get it sorted, get him right, and he'll be a really good player for us this year. Another comment with Luzardo, Puck, and potentially Dalton Jeffries. Is this Manaya's last season? I think potentially, because I think he's a free agent after next season, I think, from memory. So, yeah, I mean, he could get pushed out of it. Obviously, he came back so well in 2019 from his shoulder surgery, looked really good in those 5 starts or so. Didn't go so well in the wildcard game, but he was another player who felt like he never really found his groove last year. And I think it's something when we're looking at it, I guess I'm not a big fantasy baseball player, so I don't know so much about that side of it. But when you're looking at the projections, you're looking at the stats, it feels tough to throw away an entire year. But I really think a lot of those stats from last year, it was such a small number of games. It was such an odd situation that I think you have to take it all with a big pinch of salt. I think no player really felt comfortable last year. And with Manaea having had his struggles in the past with injuries, I think he never really got into his groove. So we'll see. Hopefully he has a great year this year. If he does and we decide to trade him with 1 year left on his deal, if we've got other guys, like you say, with Dalton Jeffries, Grant Holmes, who's going to pitch tomorrow. You've got Cole Irvin, who was the guy we brought in from the Phillies, who's going to be in AAA probably to start the season, but he's another guy there. Parker Dunshee is another guy who's going to start in 2 games time, I think. We've got a group of players there who can be decent, at least back end of the rotation guys. And if Jesus takes the step, which I really think he can this year, if Frankie can get back to that early 2019 form, minus the whole drug side of things, then, hey, we could be going pretty well. And I know some people were a little disappointed about Mike Fires coming back and maybe not getting someone a bit of a higher caliber, but we all know what Fisher is like. Fisher's budget just doesn't really allow us to get anyone significantly in improvement. And Fires, at least, especially in the Coliseum, can do really well. He's done well over the past couple of seasons there. Again, I mentioned him potentially facing the Astros, potentially facing the Dodgers early on in the season. It's not a great matchup for him, but he's a guy, if you can get 5 good innings from him at the Coliseum, you take that every time. And yeah, you need, over a course of a long 162 game season, you do need that over the course of the season. And I've just got an update on my phone. Los Angeles Dodgers starts in 15 minutes. You probably can't see that, but there we go. So how cool is that? Notifications from MLB at that and from my calendar that baseball is almost upon us. So yes, I'll take a couple more questions, and then with 10 minutes to go, I think I'll call it quits on the stream so I can get ready. We're having a little Zoom call for the first game. So yes, but a few more questions. I think Oakland underachieved last year, so that's why I still think we can make the playoffs this year. Laureano Uber Alles, always on here under various Uber Alles. I think we're helped by the fact that both the Astros and the Angels haven't really done a lot. So I don't think I look at anyone in our division and think they've clearly got better than what they were last year. We want you to do these live streams wasted, Matt. That's from Carl. Well, there we go. If the A's actually win, well, we kind of had that last year, winning the Wild Card Series against White Sox, didn't we? But you never know. If I have a 5-hour, if the pubs open, hopefully at some point outside in April, near the end of April, that's currently the timeline in England that pubs may be able to open. I think I got that right. It may be a bit later. I can't remember. It all gets very confusing when things are going to open. I just ignore it and stay indoors and don't go outside, basically, which is what I do anyway. But yeah, hopefully we will have pub gardens open, and Sunday evenings will be interesting. But our Sunday evenings are always so good for baseball fans in the UK, because normally Sunday evening you've got to think, work in the morning. Well, most of us probably think that way. But Sunday evenings, to be honest, in the summer here in the UK, they're the best part of the week, because we get to have a meet-up over Zoom and watch some A's baseball. Normally at sort of 9 o'clock in the evening UK time is the start for us. So great way to end the weekend. Not a question, but good luck to us all this season. Let's hope the A's give us more reasons to cheer. Absolutely, and I definitely think we can. Definitely think there's no reason why we can't be going well and having a good shot at the playoffs this year. How is the Four Loko sponsorship going, says Clark? Dom. Well, I think weren't you on hand to be telling, getting in contact with them? Who was it? Four Loko we were going to get in contact with? I can't remember now. There were a few people we were going to try and get in contact with to sponsor us, as if with some great finance driver, lots of revenue coming through if you get named on the Oakland A's UK. Maybe I should plug the company that did the t-shirts, and maybe we'll get a deal. I don't know. They do the mugs as well. So we've got mugs. We've got a whole bunch of mugs, I should point out. So we may be doing, I'm sure we'll be doing a few giveaways in the podcast over the coming months, and also here on the live stream too. I suspect we'll probably do a podcast recording sometime this coming week. We haven't decided that yet, but we'll probably chat about that in a Zoom call later on. But yeah, lots to catch up on and lots to look forward to, because it's so brilliant to have baseball back. As I said at the start, the Rolling Stones almost sang it before. It's only spring training, but I like it. You just look at the pictures from the beat writers in Arizona right now. A beautiful ballpark, sun is shining. There's going to be guys out on the field within 10 minutes. So with 10 minutes to go before first pitch against the Dodgers, I'm going to call it quits from there and get myself ready for the Zoom call. Thanks everyone for joining in on the chat. There's been lots of questions. That's been really good. Hopefully I've been able to catch most of them. Apologies if I've not seen them. I have kind of been trying to keep on top of it. I've got lots going on here. I'm controlling everything here. So, yes, hopefully I was able to get to your questions. Do follow along on Oakland Day UK on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've just gone past 150 subscribers. Woo, woo, woo. So, yes. Let us know. We'll be doing these live streams regularly before games, and we'll also be doing hopefully some early morning live streams here in the UK, which will be late nights in the US when the real game starts in April. So keep an eye out for that. Good luck everyone from Dom. Yes, absolutely. And fans at baseball games today. Oh, fantastic. Thanks everyone for watching. It looks like it's all gone well. The technical side seems to have worked, so that's a win for me. I'm going to get myself a beer and watch some baseball. Cheers everyone. See you later.